Anyways, I'm gonna introduce myself, and then I will let Sage introduce herself, and then we will just go ahead and get started, and people will come as they come. My name is Joe. If you don't know who I am, and just a kind of a little background about me is I have had epilepsy since I was in seventh grade. Is when my seizures started. Seventh or eighth grade. I don't remember exactly, but um, since then, my very first seizure that I had was a like absence seizure. After that, they've all been the tonic-clonic or the grand mal seizures. So that's just a little bit of a basic history about me and who I am. And I will let Sage tell you just a little bit about herself.
Well, my name is Sage. I am 20 years old, and I have had epilepsy since I was diagnosed when I was 15, but it took them a bit to get a diagnosis because I don't have the stereotypical seizure that you would see. So I was diagnosed when I was 15, and I have temporal lobe epilepsy. So, yeah, basically, you wouldn't even be able to tell if I was having a seizure unless you really knew me. Hmm. Hello. It's okay, he paused. He'll come back.
Oh, sorry.
I'm good.
Along with that, Sage, when was the last seizure that you had?
Yesterday, actually. I had my last seizure
Okay.
was yesterday, and it has to do a lot with my hormones, which we don't know why yet, but definitely I have them at least once a day.
Okay.
What about you?
Um, so for me, the last one that I had was just a little over, well, it's getting close to 2.5 years now. Mine at this point are now fairly well controlled with my seizure meds that I take. I take meds twice a day for my epilepsy, and they're fairly well controlled. Um,
That's great.
I do still have the chance, obviously, that I will have a seizure even when I am on the meds. Because, like, even with that, nothing had changed about my meds before that. Nothing had changed afterwards. But just randomly had one that was like kind of like a breakthrough one then. So there's always that chance that I'll have one. But
Yeah.
hey, Sertarian, how's it
Yeah,
going? Thanks for jumping in here.
mine are definitely not controlled by my medicines. They are more managed, I guess, but not controlled completely. I've also tried like 8 medications so far, so I'm considered medication resistant. And I do as well take medication 2 times a day, and I take 3 epilepsy medications.
And I had never, they never gave me the term of like medication resistant, but with the number of different ones of different medications that I tried that didn't work, I would assume that I am um, resistant just based on how many different ones that I've taken and tried and didn't work. I've been on. It's funny because I'll see people post it on Instagram, or whatever, and they'll say like, "Hey, which of these meds have you taken?" And I'm like, "Yep, yep, 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 yep." I mean, I've taken so many different ones, and then the ones that I'm on now. Well, I'm on Topamax now, which is pretty common, but I'm also on Felbitol, which is not common at all. Most people have not heard of it, and they don't use it very much because it's very dangerous for your liver. Um, we'll probably be on for about like an hour and a half or so, Soteria. So, um, but yeah, we should still be on when you get out of the store, unless you grocery shop like I do. I take a long time, so. But yeah, we'll be on probably an hour and a half or so. Um, so yeah, the one that I'm on now, the Felbitol, um, is it's very it can be very damaging to your liver, and so I have to get regular blood work done to check like my liver function and everything. But I've been on that one now for like 15, 16 years, and my liver function has been fine on that. So
That's great. Yeah, I
I'm
was on
glad that
Topamax,
that one
but
works. So,
I tried Topamax for a bit, but it made me so hyper, like so hyper. Um, and then I mean, I've tried all of them, but right now I'm on Trileptal and Onfi. So the Onfi is definitely helping me more than the Trileptal, I believe. But I'm a very small person, and they're giving me a lot of doses. And also, my epilepsy
okay.
did get a lot worse because of a situation I had where my doctor, my not doctor anymore, but I was told to take a dose that was a lot higher than I should have. So that's what
Mm,
triggered them happening so often.
yeah. Um, do you just have the one kind of seizures, or do you have multiple kinds?
Um, Honestly, I'm not even really that educated in it. I consider them different ones because sometimes I'll be really scary. Sometimes I can't speak. Sometimes I am fine and I could just talk through it. So the experience is different, but I think it's the same type of seizure.
Okay.
What about you? You only have one
Um,
type or you have multiple?
and what happens with your like what do they look like when you have one?
I could look like this. Like I really can just look like this and I'll be like, hold up, I don't feel good. Some things that happen that start is like my jaw. I'll like play with my jaw. One of my hands will feel like it's numb. Sometimes half my face goes numb. But those side effects like prolong throughout the seizure. If my seizures take a bit. There you go.
Here we go. Let's
You
see.
did.
I
But
can.
yeah, my seizures take a bit to stop. So I have a rescue medication. But yeah, my seizures will, I could just be like, hey, I'm having a seizure, hold up. And then I get a little slow, kind of look like I'm drunk.
Huh. Now I'm gonna stay small. I like your face up there better. It's better. People will be people. You look better for people than I do. So we'll leave your face up there for a while.
Okay, it's AJSMR. We're playing.
um. So for me, like I said, I don't. My very first seizure was a like absence seizure or the petit mal seizure, um, and then after that they've all been the tonic clonic ones or the grand mal seizures, um, and uh, and yeah, I don't understand like why that first one was that, and then after that they've all been the other ones. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like I guess my body was just like, that wasn't good enough. Let's just go bigger, and then we stayed big, and so now we're like, hey, we go bigger, go home, um, and so yeah, we just went all out. Um, but whatever.
Oops. Um, yeah, I haven't really heard much about people who have had different types of seizures, like petit mal and grand mal. Um, and yeah, I didn't know that that could like develop after.
Yeah, yeah, my very first one it was that, but and then I don't like I said I don't understand, and it was weird. Like growing up, I knew a kid who had just absence seizures. I didn't know. I mean, at that point, I knew nothing at all about seizures, about epilepsy, and nothing. I mean, I was so uneducated, but I mean, I was a kid, so it's whatever. I don't blame myself for that. I was a kid. Wasn't like studying about it or anything. Um, and we knew that he did, and we thought that like we could keep him from having one by like talking to him and like keeping him
Oh,
there. Um, and it was like, no, that's not how that works. Um,
yeah.
and so um, we would. It's kind of funny now, like looking back at it, um, because I'm like, that was I mean, it was very uneducated of me, But at the same time, I'm like, I didn't know any better.
Mhm.
So it was just what it was. Uh,
Oh yeah. Yeah, yesterday I had a hospital and a seizure at the doctor's, and a woman offered me water, and it was very, very, very sweet. But do you know what specifically triggers your seizure?
there is two things that I know of. And actually, this is super interesting. Um, the one thing is obviously the thing that will trigger them for anybody who takes medication. If I don't take my medication, I'll have a seizure. So that's an automatic trigger. But the other thing that is not very common or well known is artificial sweeteners. Um, if I have artificial sweeteners, I'll have a seizure. And I just Wednesday night I was talking with my pastor, and he has epilepsy as well, and he was asking me about like what had if I ever drank like diet drinks or anything like that, and I was like, no, I was like, I can't because I'll have a seizure, and he's like, really? He's like, because I haven't had any diet soda or any diet drinks now in 3 months, and I haven't had any seizures. I was like, really? And I hadn't heard anybody else at all before that affected. But yeah, for me, artificial sweeteners does it.
That's actually very interesting. Have you
Yeah.
spoken to your doctor about that? Like, you think there's a connection there at all?
Oh, there is. I mean, 100% there is. Because I've had times where I will be like, my seizures will be under control, and then I will like have something that has artificial, and like it's within like 2 hours, 3 hours, I'll have a seizure. Um, I After I moved out of my parents' house, I went back and um, I was visiting them, and um, my parents. Whoa, oh, there we go. Okay. So at that time, I'm sorry, I was really. I don't know why I had to switch it, but I did. My parents were um, they were like having like all diet drinks and stuff, and I didn't really pay any attention. I went to the fridge and I got something to drink. I got like some Kool-Aid out of the pitcher in there, and it was never like a question. Thank you, Beth, for sending that. Um, Growing up, it was never anything a question or anything, and so I just got a glass and I just drank a whole glass really quick. And like right after I did, my mom walks in and she goes, "You didn't drink that Kool Aid, did you?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, it has artificial sweetener in it." And like within 2 hours, I had a seizure. Um, and yeah, so and that's not the only time. There's been other times as well where I've had artificial sweeteners, and then within like a very short time, I'll have a seizure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's weird. But, so basically, I just am very careful about what I eat and drink, and it's really once you start looking at it, it's crazy how much of our food has artificial sweeteners in it.
Yeah, very true.
What do you Have you found things that trigger it for you?
The thing that I've realized, which is I don't feel common because I've heard a lot of things like stress causes seizures or can lead to them. When there's chaos going on, I won't have a seizure, and then when things calm down, and I'll have a seizure. That's the only thing that we can really like
Huh.
pinpoint. But besides that, we have no clue.
So do you think it's like the difference in the hormones in your body, like your like the stress hormones, and then your body all just like it like overloads your body or something or what?
We could, yeah. I've gotten like a hormone test though. The hormone panel, everything's fine. Every test comes back fine, and then I have like an EEG with 18 seizures on it, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
why that's happening."
Hey Shay.
Shay is here. Stop.
Yep. There you go.
Hi, mom. Hi, ASMR mom. How are
Oh,
you? Shay, I love you so much. He keeps going on pause, but it's okay. Oh, I was
sorry, I'm
looking for.
going out to look at something really quick, and then I come back in.
No, you're good.
Um,
You're chilling.
so with having epilepsy, and not even necessarily like related to seizures, but what is the hardest thing about having epilepsy?
I mean, I think since I am 20 and I got diagnosed at 15, it definitely took a big chunk of my childhood. But I don't know. The hardest part for me is the fact that it affects the people around me. Because I know that I can like I don't know. I think we all have that instinct of just being independent. But then when people are worried about you, it makes them stress, and you don't want them to stress, and then you stress because they're stressed, and then it's just like a back and forth. So I think that's the hardest part about it for me. What about you?
For sure. Um, Shay, I told, I'll answer in just a second. I told Noah it was her fault, so I told her she had to come because it was her fault that I met Sage. So I told her she had to come today. So,
Thank you so much, Noah.
um,
Thank you for the hearts, my love.
so um, for me, it's different. Um, in different. Sorry, my daughter's trying to call me. Um, in
That's okay.
different. They're in Indiana right now, and I'm in Colorado, so they're trying to call me. In different stages of my life, the thing that's the hardest has been different. So they started, like I said, in like seventh or eighth grade. And that's a very that's a big time in your life. Because you're like trying to figure out who you are as a person. Um, there's a lot of stuff going on with your friends and stuff. People are mean. And so there's just a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to deal with all of that with everybody else. Um, and then everybody else is trying to figure out, well, how do I deal with the fact that you're not the person who you were before? When really you are still that person, but you just have this new thing with you too. So that was the hardest thing, like starting out. And then as I got into like high school, the hardest thing was the fact that everybody else was driving. Everybody else was able to go and do whatever they wanted to do, and I couldn't. I couldn't drive. I couldn't go and just do whatever I wanted to do because I was always reliant on someone else. I always had to depend on someone else. Um, hey Sam, um, we got three ASM artists in the chat right now. We got one on live. It's all an ASMR. I feel like I need to whisper.
I'll take out my microphone.
um, and so like during high school, the hardest thing was like that I couldn't drive. Like I didn't have that independence that everybody else had. I started college and then I stopped. I couldn't finish college because um my mind wasn't good enough. I was having way too many seizures at that point. And
Same
so I
here.
couldn't continue in college. So I moved out of my parents' house. I moved with my brother out in Colorado, and I just started working. Um, and so then at that point, the hardest thing I think was just the fact that um, it kind of went back to like the beginning of, but it was kind of like a mixture too of I had to define who I was. I was in a new place. I had to meet new people and then depend on them as well because I couldn't drive. Um, and it got to a point then where my seizures were under control, and I was able to get my license then. Um, but for a long time, I couldn't drive or anything. Um,
I actually bought my own house before I had my license, which is crazy. Um,
Congratulations.
and so I would do everything. I got a bike, and I had a really nice bike, and I put thousands of miles on my bike, and did everything on my bike. After that, then like once I got married and had kids, like moving into that stage, the hardest thing, like with my kids starting out, was, well, I wonder, are they gonna have seizures too? Are they gonna? So then it was like all that weight on me of, are my kids gonna have seizures? And like, how is my epilepsy?
Seizures affecting my how are my seizures affecting my family? How are they affecting my wife? How are they affecting my kids? Um,
And so there's so much that goes into that then. Um, and it was that in that stage. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm I'm divorced now, and so there's a lot of different things now. But I have my girls by myself a lot of times, and so now it's just a fact of um, just teaching them what to do if that were to happen. Um, and it's really cool to be able to see them uh, not have to take on necessarily the weight of me having seizures, but being able to like talk through it with them. They understand it really well, and they know what to do if that were to happen. So I think at this point, the hardest thing is is really trying to explain it to other people, and I guess just to spread that awareness now. And so that's my hard thing now is like I want people to know. I want other people to see that just because someone has epilepsy, just because someone has seizures, they don't. Um, that doesn't stop them from living. That doesn't stop their life. They can do so much, even with that.
Like
Like I say,
this.
it's been so much. There's been so many different stages of hard, which is like with everything in life. So,
Yeah, life is hard, so we just gotta learn how to deal with it and learn how to cope with things. And I mean, I can imagine your experience because you've had them for a while, and it's easy to talk about now, but they are scary.
oh
And
yeah,
it's it's not something someone can understand unless they've been through it.
Randall, what meds does your son take?
Is your son young? Because I remember when I was young, Randall, I was taking Vimpat. Keppra. I just got off of Keppra, right? Is that what Dad was on?
I know a lot of people have issues with. I know a lot of people have issues with Keppra, and
Yeah, I
it's
was.
not a very well liked medication. Um, I took that for a while. It did not work for me. Uh, did not work for controlling my meds at all. Um, but yeah,
The one good thing though
controlling my
that
seizures.
my new medication has changed is when I started having seizures, I was very, very large. I was about 280 pounds. And as the medicine, as I was getting older too, I was losing it, but also the medications made me throw up so much, and I am now
Hmm.
like a stick because of that. But now I'm not throwing up with these new medicines, which is good.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'm on
yeah,
Topamax, which is one that they actually prescribe with, along with something else for people for
omeprazole.
weight loss.
Oh.
Um, and so I can't. I mean, at this point, I don't. I can't gain weight. I don't think.
Me
But
neither.
it's whatever. So I sell my seizure meds on the side to pay for everything.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't.
I know.
Probably could, but
TikTok's gonna get
probably
you.
could.
Do you,
I'm joking. TikTok.
if anything, Shay will
I do
help
not
us.
do illegal activities.
Never. Um, do you know when a seizure, like, do you remember what it feels like for you? Oh, okay, you had to leave. Okay. Do you know or
I
remember
don't.
what
I
it's
don't have any idea what it's like to have a seizure. Um,
never?
I mean, which sounds weird. Um, but no. I mean, I'll be going about my day doing whatever it is that I'm doing, and then the next thing I know, I'm waking up from having had a seizure.
Oh, sure.
Um, I have absolutely no warning that I'm gonna have a seizure. Um, anything at all. I It's crazy. Um, I have a brother who has seizures, and he has an aura, and he's able to like get himself to a safe space. And he has like rescue meds that he takes right away when he has an aura, and a lot of the times, with getting himself like laid down or whatever and taking his meds right away, he can end up not having a seizure.
Great.
But I have absolutely zero warning. Um,
Do you know what rescue medicine he takes?
I don't remember what it is right now. No,
Does it dissolve under his tongue?
I don't know.
Okay. Because I do take rescue medication if a
Oh
seizure
yeah.
lasts like 3 minutes, but I take it right
Okay.
away because I don't like that feeling. But I do take
Yeah.
a dissolvable Klonopin. It's like a zero point 0.1 milligram,
Okay.
and it does get me out of it for most of the time. But then when I do take them, it feels like I'm having cluster seizures where they just keep happening, and then I need to take it again.
Yeah. So I used to have cluster seizures, um, and I would have a rescue medication that I would take because I've had as many as 13 seizures in a day, um, and those are all like grand mal seizures, um, and that'll mess you up. If you think one is bad, 13 in a row is bad. Um,
Um,
and it'll just knock you out. And I used to take 3,600 milligrams of Depakote, um, and that would knock me out. But it would also stop me from having a seizure. So, but I also had to be awake enough to be able to take it. So it was kind of like a catch 22 on that, because a lot of the like if I was having the cluster seizures, I didn't always wake up enough in between to take the meds. And so I ended up with sometimes on that I ended up having to go to the hospital, um, because it just I wasn't waking up enough um, to take the meds. So after a while, um, I started to anytime I had a seizure, as soon as I woke up, I would take the medication, because I didn't know if it was going to turn into a cluster or not, and so I would just take it anyways. I don't now. I don't even have any of that rescue medication or anything left. But like I said, I've only had in the past 15 years, I've had 3 seizures now. So
that's great. I hope that I get there one day.
yeah, it's so hard because when you're in the middle of like when you're having a lot, it's like this is never gonna end. It's never gonna change.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm not gonna say it's gonna because I don't know. Um,
No.
but I
But you
really hope
know,
it does.
but you know what it feels like?
Yeah,
It really genuinely is just like, how much more you want to give me, life? Can you just like give me a
right.
tiny break? Just a small tiny break. But that's why I
Oh, I
love
know.
ASMR, because ASMR is a great, like, I found something I could do. I've tried to, I've had what, 4 jobs, and I couldn't hold them because of my seizures. So
Yeah,
I found something that I enjoy where there's a community of great people, and it's actually something that'll take my time because I can't drive right now. I have to wait for my friends to pick me up and stuff like that. So that's
yeah.
why I really love ASMR.
Um,
Also, no was hot. Sorry. I saw she was I just had to.
Do you like with yours being like a little bit like different? You don't have the grand mal seizures, but do you get like an aura beforehand, or is it like not? Like, do you have a warning that you're going to have a seizure, or is it just like I don't know?
It
Because
really
it's a whole
depends.
different like ball game with how yours are.
Like I, it really depends. Sometimes I'll taste like blood in my mouth, um, or just like metallic taste. But then,
I taste blood after I have a seizure,
really,
only because I bite my tongue and stuff.
see, yeah, that's the thing. Is after I have a seizure, the back of my tongue will go swollen. I don't know if I bite it because I can't tell, but
Okay.
an aura, I don't know really because it's like, an aura is such a broad term.
Yeah.
Like sometimes when it was really bad, I used to get deja vu horribly. Like I was like, it felt like I was a kid again, and it was like I was being scared. But as they've happened recently, it's more of just like a no, I need help, and I have to scream for my mom, and then she'll just put
Okay.
my rest of the medicine in my mouth, and then we gotta wait. But yeah, no, they usually happen, and then I get the signs as they're happening, like it gets worse. And also, I know you said you have daughters. Does anyone else in your family have epilepsy besides your brother?
Um, no. Um, my two of my daughters have had seizures, but they've had like febrile seizures, um, and so they've had seizures where their temperature will get so high that they will end up having a seizure. Hey, Patty. Um, and so, but they do not have like epilepsy though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's been several years now since they've had it, like probably 8 years now since they had a seizure, and have not had any since then. I do not take any kind of medication or anything at all. Um, so I am very very grateful for that they have not had anything else since then. Um, I have one older brother who does have epilepsy as well. Um, and that's all. I do not have. There's no other like family history. My parents did not have it. No grandparents. Nobody else. Nobody else that's like in a previous generation had it at all. So,
It's crazy.
um, and then as far as like with you, do you know if it's like hereditary with you or
I
how
mean,
does that work?
I'm like 199.999% sure because my dad, he did have epilepsy, but he passed away when my mom was pregnant with me. So I can't really ask him questions. But
Yeah.
he definitely had the same type of seizures that I do, and the reason that I got diagnosed so soon, even though it still took a while, is because my mom realized that I was doing things that my dad was doing when he had a seizure, which is
Okay.
great. Thank God she figured that out. But
Yeah.
yeah, he got into a motorcycle accident, and that's what triggered his seizures when he was very young. And yeah, that's where I think it's coming from. Definitely his side of the family. His father is adopted, so we don't know much about that family history. And there's a bunch of neurological issues on their side. Happy Friday!
Thank you, Patty.
I forgot it's Friday.
Heck yeah, it's Friday. It's awesome. I just finished my work week, so I'm off every weekend. So I work all week and I'm off on the weekends. So I
What
actually
do you
get my
do for
weekends
work?
off.
Oh,
I'm a
what do you do for
plumber.
work? You're a plumber?
Plumber. Yep.
Good money?
Mm, you know, it's all right.
Is it consistent?
It is very consistent. Yep. And I work the stuff I do is very, it's different because I do like new construction. Um So I'm not going out and like cleaning toilets out and stuff like that. Like I'm working on like building like new construction projects and stuff like that. So I enjoy it. Uh,
Sorry, they're coming for me again.
mm,
But
as well turn yourself in.
hey, they haven't caught me yet. I'm chilling.
All right.
But I know also I saw a video of yours. Hold on, it's paused.
I can still hear you when I'm off of there. I just
Okay.
like you guys can't hear me, but I can hear you.
So I heard that, or I saw that you have, I don't know what it's called exactly, so I'm just gonna, for lack of better words, you have an implant. And I was wondering when that came up, like within your seizure journey. Like when was that offered to you? What were you open to it at the beginning?
Yeah. So here, hang on just a second. So what I have is called. Hopefully you can still hear me as I walk around. But I have what's called a VNS. It's a vagus nerve stimulator. And so it is a little metal box. It's like a little circle, like about like. Oh, dog wants to get all in my business. It's like right there. You can see it in my chest.
I'm not gonna lie.
What's that?
That's pretty cool. That reminds me of like a piercing.
Yeah,
The skin.
that'd be a pretty big gauge. No, I can actually here. Let me
Yeah,
see.
that's cool.
So you can see it right there. It's like a disc, basically. That you can see. Um, and so and then from there, there's a wire that runs up that you can see a lot more when I don't have a beard. But it runs up right here in my neck,
Mhm.
and it's wrapped around my vagal nerve. Um, and what that does is when actually here you go, found this too. So I had this implanted December 15th of 2004. So it's been in there for a little while.
I was
And you
not
can
even
see
old. That was my birth year.
what's that?
I was literally
That was the year. That's the year before I graduated. Or actually, that was my senior year of high school. So, yeah. Okay, so right there you can see like that's the little disc that's in my chest, and then there's the wire that comes up, and then it's wrapped around my vagus nerve right there. And so what it does is it was they can change the settings and stuff on there, and it like goes off, and mine was set to like every minute it would send an electrical impulse to my brain, for 30 seconds, and it was set at the mine was set at the highest setting, um, and set for the longest amount of time that they will allow it to go. Um, so it was pretty intense. Um, and then I carried like a little magnet around with me. Um, hey Shay, Cheyenne, Shay. I guess sorry, I'm reading Shay. I'm talking to Cheyenne. Hi Cheyenne. Hi Shay too. There's too many names in here. Uh, and so I would carry a little magnet around with me. And when I had a seizure, whoever was with me would take that magnet and they put it on there. When you put the magnet on there, it would turn it off. When you take it off, it would come back on at twice the strength for twice the amount of time. And it was supposed to help like shorten my seizures. The battery in there is dead now, and it's been dead for a long time. But so now it's just a cool like decoration.
Mm-hmm.
It's my internal piercing. I think it would be kind of cool to get it like tattooed right here and get the actual thing all tattooed. I think that would be kind of cool.
Please do that.
Um,
That's so sick, actually.
it'd be pretty funny. No. Um, so, but yeah, the battery in there
That
is
would be
dead, and what they can do then is they can replace the box, like just the box piece in there, and then it'll still like then it would work again. But by the time the battery in mine died, my seizures were under control. So what they did is, and I asked them about it. I was like, "So are they gonna like take this out, or what's going on with that?" And they're like, "No." Oh, hang on just a second, Hannah, and I'll tell you. They're like, "No, because it's wrapped around your like nerve in there. Like once they wrap that around that nerve, your body starts to like grow into it. So unless it's causing an issue, they won't do anything about it because it would be a very involved surgery to remove it. So they just leave it in there and let it be. Um, so Hannah, I was just talking about it's a called a vagus nerve stimulator, and it's basically the easiest way to describe it is it's a pacemaker for my brain. So when my brain starts freaking out, it resets my brain. Um, Not anymore because the battery's dead. So now it's just decoration. So
honestly, I'm jealous.
hey, you go get one. Actually, I don't know if you can. It's
I've been
they
offered.
and now they have so now they have one. So mine is called a VNS. Now they have an RNS. Um, oh, that's cool. That's awesome, Hannah. Um, Now they have one that's called an RNS, and I don't remember what the R is for. But it goes onto like they remove a piece of your skull and they
Oh.
put it right onto your brain. And that one actually like collects data from when you have a seizure, and then they can adjust it based on the data that it collects from your brain,
Mhm.
which I think that's crazy. Like it's awesome. I love that they're like making new technology more and more to be able to like um help with all of this. It's super weird, Patty. And I didn't even know about that until just recently and I was like, "Whoa, that's trippy." Um because you have I mean, you're like removing like literally taking out a piece of the skull and replacing it with this little thing like it's called an RNS. But yeah, and so collecting data from your brain, I was like, that's kind of like sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, I
But
was
yeah,
offered it. I was offered it multiple times. I said no because
oh yeah,
there was a bunch of people that I like. There was someone specific who actually was at the hospital when I was there, and his father was a lawyer, and this poor kid literally had to go through it 3 times because it wasn't working.
I'm not sure if that's
hmm.
a fault that has an R that has to do with the MS. What is it? Invasive, not invasive, but it's
Yeah,
you had or something.
no,
That's how she explained it to me. But
it's basically a device they put as a skull.
the other one is this way. That's the first one. That's the brain. I believe the brain surgery, and then recently, and
I don't want to do it. I don't know why, but that scares me very much.
but
Yeah,
that's
I get it. And there's um, I have another friend who's on like who's online and stuff, and she said the same thing. She's just You're welcome, Shay. Thanks for coming in. This is this topic is so big for me because I mean this I've lived with this for so long. Um, that's fine, Shay. Thanks for stopping in and just hanging out with us for a while.
I love you. I'll message you
Um,
later.
I've had my videos on YouTube for quite a while now, and they have I mean, one that I have on there, I have three different ones of me having seizures on YouTube. One of them has like 1.2 million views or something, and it's been used in classrooms and stuff like that. And I mean, when I put it on there, I was like, whatever. I'll just put them on there and people can watch it. Like, I had no expectation at all about what it would do. Um, and I know like some people have videos that they post every day that get like they will post a video and it gets 1 million views right away. That's not me. I'm like so to have something like that, that's crazy to me. Like it blows my mind that this is out there. And I get messages, I get comments literally every week talking about how either they used it in their classroom or how they found it and it was super good because like their kid had epilepsy or they have epilepsy, they just started having seizures or something. And so like that's been huge for me, um, because it's so encouraging to me to have something that I've gone through, something that I live with, to be helping other people. Um, because if it can be used in any way at all, then I'm good with that.
That could definitely have saved a bunch of lives, just that video alone.
And that's the thing too. Is like I hope that by doing stuff like this, by being able to get online, like increase the awareness, increase the knowledge about it, um, people will not be. There won't be such a big stigma around this, because I don't want people like when someone has a seizure. It's a very scary thing. It's a very like it comes out of nowhere, um, and most people don't know how to handle it or what to do, because it's not something that's necessarily taught. And so raising that awareness, like having that conversation, is important to me, because there's no way that people are going to know how to react in situations like that if they're not taught. And the best people to teach them is the people that live it. I mean, and so if I can do a little bit of that, then that's what I'll do. So.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, I don't think I have any friends, even from when I was little, that have been around epilepsy. So having to, like you said, it's hard to explain, especially mine, are like they're like, why are you not like convulsing if you're saying you're having a seizure? I've gotten asked that a lot. I've definitely had to educate a lot of people around me about epilepsy and how it's not just grand mal seizures, and every person with any type of epilepsy is very much valid. I was also told that I had non-epileptic seizures as well, but um, I think I was only told that once, right? I had a hospital stay and they said that I had non-epileptic seizures. So,
And I'm not sure how they differentiate that.
yeah, like it was very confusing because I didn't even know that was a thing. And I thought that epilepsy and seizures were the same thing. Like I didn't know that you could have seizures and not have epilepsy, or have epilepsy and not have seizures necessarily. So that's also something that I want to like have like spread more awareness about and educate more about, because people, I don't know, like you said, the people that live it are the ones who should be teaching it.
Yeah.
Hi, David.
There's a lot more things that I want to talk about with this, but I don't think I don't want to start that conversation right now, because there's just so much more to that. Well, and like one of the big topics that I want to talk about is how it affects kids, And I don't have my girls with me right now. And I want to bring my daughters in and basically interview them. Um, and they're super excited to do that. They love being on TikTok live. They're like, they as soon as they get on there, it does. There can be one person, there can be two people watching, and they think they're the biggest stars in the world, which they are. They are. They're the biggest stars in the world. But um, they're it's funny. And so I'm excited about that to just bring them in and talk to them about how it affects them, because they've all seen me have a seizure, um, and then also the effect on relationships as well. But I think that those two topics are like a whole live in themselves, um, because they're such big topics. These other things we've kind of like moved through fairly quickly, and it's more. This is more like kind of just getting to basically an overview of who we are, kind of, and how it affects us a little bit, but not getting down deep into um, more like a lot deeper into it. And so, if you guys are watching, if you guys see this later, just know that we are going to keep doing this, and we are going to have more topics that are going to be discussing like specific things and stuff. If you guys have suggestions, or questions or anything about things that you want us to talk about, please feel free to shoot me a message, and let me know. But unless you've got anything else or any other questions that you had, Sage, I think we're good.
No, I think that was a great start. Definitely. I think that was a great start.
Cool.
And I'm excited to keep doing this.
Awesome. And I will make sure and let you guys know
Thank you, Tyler.
ahead of time as well. And I will try and put it on here, on YouTube, on Instagram, so that people have plenty of warning. I want to make it so that we are on all three platforms, but I did not get that done for this one, so it will happen. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, you gotta show me
Thank
how
you
to,
guys for coming in. Sorry, say that again.
you gotta show me how to do the YouTube live stuff. I'm not too
Oh yeah,
kind of know about it, but not too educated on it.
yeah, we'll figure it out. So thank you guys for coming in, and we are going to take off. And thanks, Cheyenne. And we will see you guys next time. So,
Thank you, Joe.
yeah, see ya.
Yeah. Bye, guys.